Another is a 2012 comedy anime about a group of chronically clumsy children and their unfortunate inability to recognize someone when that person changes hairstyles. Oh, I'm being informed another is supposed to be a horror anime? No, this can't be right. Just look at this stuff, it's a riot. Listen to this campy theme song. There's no way this was ever intended to be scary. This has to be some sort of mistake. I'm sorry, what? Look, I'm sorry, but the most horrifying thing about the show is that anyone found it scary. Have people that voted on this even watched this show? There's no way anyone is taking any of this seriously, right? What, you think I'm overreacting? Fine, I'll show you. Just let me walk you through this, okay? In the first episode, you find out that this kid that has a bad lung moves into town with his older sister? Whatever. And there's this girl with an eye patch that likes staring at the sky, I guess. Nothing else happens! Everyone acts like Eye Patch Girl doesn't exist, so that's kinda weird. Also, someone says the class he's in is cursed, so lol, I guess. Eye Patch Girl reveals that under her eye patch is a glass eye. And she says it lets her go all sixth sense and see spooky things. Also, she's all like, hey, wanna hear the legend of the class we're in? Turns out some kids had a lousy coping mechanism when their friend died, and they just kept pretending he was alive. Oh, and that made him come back from the dead. Then later at school, one of the students acts as if she can suddenly see Eye Patch Girl and just runs away to find the most creative use of an umbrella I've ever seen.
A girl from the 9th grade's class 3 died.
We're gonna come back to this because it gets even stupider in retrospect. Eye Patch Girl says some vaguely threatening stuff, and some more Final Destination level near misses happen. The MC asks his nurse to look into Eye Patch Girl because no one will fucking tell him anything. And then she tells the main character that her younger brother, who is in his class by the way, says such a girl doesn't exist, and then she dies on the phone with him. You lose. Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark. Someone finally decides to tell the main dude what's going on, but he dies right before he can spill his guts. His classmates get fed up and start ignoring the main character, so he goes to talk to Eye Patch Girl, and she's all like, lol, yeah, everyone's just been ignoring me. It's not like I'm a ghost or anything. I was just messing with you. Then she begins to explain the startlingly complex and precise rules of this curse. And this is where things get kind of interesting, even though it's all explained in possibly the most confusing way humanly conceived. So the curse is actually a counterbalance. Ever since the first class made their homeroom an inviting place for the dead, every year a dead person slips into this class. This person is dead and doesn't even know it. Reality itself alters records and memories so no one can even tell who the extra is. This curse is apparently reality itself trying to send the dead person back to wherever dead people go in this world. But it just has a really bad aim. In fact, the aim is so bad that it can affect immediate family members of people in the class too for some reason, even if they have nothing to do with the class inviting dead people to it. This is actually a really interesting setup. I love the twist that the dead person doesn't even know they're dead, so it gives us even greater sense of paranoia. As an attempt to fight back against this curse, the students figure that since there's an extra student and reality is trying to counterbalance that, the class will simply choose one person and pretend they're dead for a year and hope the curse just leaves them alone. Apparently this has no noticeable effect, and sometimes the curse leaves them alone and sometimes it doesn't, and it's all just basically useless to even try. Anyway, everyone was ignoring Eye Patch Girl because of this, and now they're avoiding the main character too to try and strengthen this charm. Okay, so remember this? It's time to talk about why that's so unbelievably stupid. So this scene right here implies that this girl is just now seeing Eye Patch Girl, and that's what caused her to flip out and run. But as we discovered just now, she's always been able to see Eye Patch Girl her entire life, and the class was just pretending not to. So why the flip did she act like she had just seen a ghost? Was it because the main character was treating the Eye Patch Girl like she was alive and it might break the charm? Okay, but if that's the case, he's been talking to her out in the open for like 3 episodes. This is not a new event. But wait, the dumb gets even dumber. You might be asking, hey Dolan, why didn't they just tell the main dude not to talk to her because there's a legit curse that violently murders people if you do? Well, apparently saying that would mean acknowledging her existence and breaking the charm. That seems pretty weak to me, given that briefly saying, yo, ignore her, our life depends on it, is a lot less intrusive than the dude actively chatting up the girl everyone swore to ignore, but whatever. Even pretending that this logic holds up, why the flip didn't Eye Patch Girl explain it to him? Nothing was stopping her from doing so, she just didn't. Like, I know she doesn't believe the charm actually does anything, but if she's willing to go this far along with their stupidity, why is she intentionally sabotaging it here? I just don't understand. This happens.
Saki Kibara.
So, I mean, that's basically the scariest thing in the entire show, to be honest. The only other thing of consequence that happens is a bit of foreshadowing where the MC's dad asks him how it's like to be back after being gone for a year. And the MC's like, what? I've never been here before. Which I didn't even notice the first time through and doesn't make a lot of sense, but again, we'll come back to that near the end. The next day, their homeroom teacher starts the day off with a nice anthropology lesson. I don't know why, but this reminded me of one of the funnier things about the show. Somewhere early on, I'm almost positive they mentioned somewhere that the curse only kills like 1 person a month, but that gets thrown out the window almost immediately, and I'm just baffled why they even mentioned it, because it doesn't have anything to do with anything. It has no relevance to the plot, but it is completely contradicted throughout the entire story. Anyway, with this, the class finally gives up on this stupid charm idea, but thankfully they learn quite quickly about a former student from another year who stopped the curse during his time, but can't remember how. Apparently he left a clue somewhere, and they're just gonna hope to find it. I'm not sure why they would even bother looking though, since the curse has had a record of completely erasing all records and memories from every event once it's passed and done its thing, but whatever. Oh, also, Eye Patch Girl assures the MC in this scene that neither he nor her are the dead person because of her magic eye, and that really robs the series of a lot of interesting tension I was hoping for. The class suddenly remembers that the curse doesn't affect you if you just leave town, so they all just decide to do that, and we have a beach episode. And then someone dies violently. I didn't mention this before because it wasn't plot relevant, but the MC's sister has just been hanging out in the background of almost every episode for, like, no reason. Is she a substitute teacher or something? Turns out the dead kid whacked his head before they left, so the curse technically didn't kill him outside of town, in the same way the curse could technically still follow the rules by revealing it gave them all fast-acting cancer that killed them all after they left, so I guess the curse is just having its cake and eating it too. They find the clue from a couple episodes back, and miraculously the curse just decided not to delete it for some reason. Though it still hides key facts like the name of the dead student from that round of the curse, so it obviously can affect the tape, but it just doesn't? I guess this curse has a really good sense of dramatic narrative timing. They start to listen to it, but they accidentally bust the tape and have to repair it to finish hearing it. How exciting. They fix the tape, and finally, after a whole episode of build-up, we reveal that the super secret way to stop the curse, the only way you can do it, is just to re-kill the extra person. Like, it doesn't even take anything special, you just kill them again, and the curse stops. What the fuck? That's it? You just kill it? Are you really telling me that no one's tried this before or marked this down as a suitable countermeasure? I can't even. Okay, we gotta move past that if I'm ever gonna finish this. Okay, moving on. Eye Patch Girl reveals that everyone and their mother were twins. Okay, I'm slightly exaggerating, but her and her cousin are actually her and her twin sister, and her twin sister died a month before the main character shows up, and that proves he's not the extra, because the curse started before he showed up. Okay, but all of that is pointless, again, because she has a magic eye that lets her see who the dead person is! Ah! Oh my gosh. They stammer and guffaw for a while about who could it be, and then right before she can reveal, someone comes in and interrupts them. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. I just feel like in this show are all the pieces for a great tense murder mystery, but the show just cannot get out of its own way. Anyway, they decide Eye Patch Girl is probably the extra because she acts weird as Falk and has a magic death eye, and I mean, that's pretty fair. Also, something twins again, it really doesn't matter. But all the kids suddenly go into a battle royale killing spree against each other to make sure that the extra dies. Then the place catches on fire and things become not normal.
I don't want to die! This is not normal.
There's more nonsense fighting until Eye Patch Girl reveals that the extra all along was the MC's sister. Now, a couple of weird things happened here for me. Number one, I learned that this character was in fact not his sister, but his aunt, and I was paying so little attention that I did not even realize that. Okay, that's on me. Fair. Number two, apparently we weren't supposed to recognize that this weird sub who's been hanging out with him the entire time was sister. I legitimately did not even realize this was intended to be a twist reveal until I was reading the TV tropes page later. They are so obviously the same character, there was zero attempt to make them seem even a little bit different, and I'm once again baffled at just how the show got to this point. I am just completely lost as to what the point of even bothering to hide her identity was. This whole situation is just absolutely bafflingly underwhelming and comedic. I really have nothing more to offer. Also, hey, why did the curse make him think he had never visited this place and remove the memory of the funeral and everything instead of just altering it slightly to make him think he'd come to visit his aunt? Like, this seems way more convoluted just to drop that, like, little teaser foreshadowing with his dad earlier on. I don't understand how that factored into anything. Okay, so it finishes off with, like, the 5 people left in the class who were not killed by basically just Eye Patch Girl's absolute negligence. Leave a note for the next class saying, hey, you'll all have to murder one of your classmates, and you'll also have no idea how to tell who it is. But the important thing is that you learn to trust your friends and have good communication, because that's the moral of the story. Another is a show with the bones of a great story and the execution of a clown-filled train wreck. It absolutely fails on every level to induce even the slightest bit of tension or dread. And for every one decent choice it makes, it follows it up with about 15 missteps. It was an absolute blast as a comedy, and every episode got at least one solid laugh out of me. 4 out of 10, skip the first 3 episodes and watch the rest with maybe some alcohol if you ask me. Drink responsibly, kids. Actually, kids don't drink at all. Adults drink responsibly. My name is Dolan Malna, not endorsing drunkenness. God bless.